All right, I want to share with you my market profile theory explanation for the market. This is something that I got from the Chicago Board of Trade, and I've kind of translated it into real estate. So it's probably not something that you've seen before, but this really helps to put a market into a graphical format that you can see, and it's super helpful. It also puts the market into a format that you can have a really nice conversation with your sellers about the marketplace. And I think that that can help them to really wrap their head around pricing their home. This also shows us where liquidity gaps in the market are, and those are really, really important. What are liquidity gaps? Liquidity gaps are places where you just don't have a lot of buyers or there's no buyers in a marketplace. And why does that happen? Well, we have different dispersions of incomes, and we have our upper price points, we have our lower price points, and we have our middle price points. And in the upper price points, we have people that make a ton of money. And then in our middle price points, we have people that maybe are in the $100,000 to $200,000 a year in income range. And in the lower price points, maybe those are people that are $60,000 a year and under. Maybe we just don't have a lot of $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 incomes in a certain marketplace. And so products that are priced where those incomes could afford those homes, there's just not a lot of sales. Those are what we call liquidity gaps. Or if we put a price there, we wouldn't find that there's a lot of buyers in those categories. So a market profile theory, if you can put this together, and I know you can because it's pretty simple, you can really put this together for your sellers. You can have your CMA, and then you can have your market profile theory, and those two combined can become very, very powerful. And you are going to usually find out that they hit the nail on the head. So what is a market profile theory? How do we put this together? Let me explain that. So market profile theory takes the same parameters as your CMA. And what we're going to do is number one, we're going to run a search. And in our search, we're going to run it with plus or minus 20% on the house size, plus or minus 50% on the lot size, just as you would a CMA. Bedrooms, bathrooms, just like you would a CMA, 3 plus, 2 plus, if that's the product you have. Within a 1 mile radius, sold within the last 6 months. We're also going to look at all the other statuses. We're going to pull all statuses. We're going to pull sold, expired, canceled, actives, pendings. We're going to pull them all. I want to know all the data. If we're looking at view property, we want to have similar view properties. It's just like running a list of properties for a CMA. Once we have all the criteria in the computer, we're going to hit enter, and hopefully we get a ton of data. If we don't get a ton of data, we may need to relax some of these tolerances so that we get some data that we can look at. Once we've got the data, then we're going to put it on the chart. Let's take a look at how that looks. All right, we've run our search and we've got our data. Now we're going to put all that data on our graph. I'm not going to weed out any of the listings. I'm not going to go and look at each one of them. I want to look at liquidity in the marketplace. Where are the fish biting? I don't care about condition for this analysis. What I care about is at what price points are products such as this, not exactly to this, such as this, selling at. And I'm going to use color to indicate the success or failure of each of the listings. So my reds are going to be solds, yellows are going to be pendings, greens actives, purples expireds or canceled listings, and I'm going to put them all on my graph. When I put them on my graph, you can see clearly that the highest dispersion of properties are going to be in the $1.5 to $1.7 million range here in this example. We've got a couple that sold in the 1.2 to 1.3, one pending down there as well, and we've had a couple of sellers try 1.8 to 1.9 million. 1 out of 3 of those has been successful. And then you see these gaps from 1.35 to 1.5, and I've got a gap from 1.7 to 1.8. These are areas where there just hasn't been a lot of activity. Why? Could be due to incomes in your marketplace. In my marketplace, I had a problem with a certain market and a certain product. Every time I put it on the market, 1.275, 1.325, 1.375, it just wouldn't sell. I had a liquidity gap in that marketplace between 1.2 and 1.4 million. It just was a desert for trying to sell properties. And then I thought about it. we had so many Amazon employees making right around that $200,000 a year category. A lot of them were getting $100,000 signing bonuses when they moved to Seattle. And it kind of all made sense. $100,000 signing bonus, the income, it all translated into a price, $1 million, $2 million. That was where a lot of them were comfortable. So incomes in your marketplace can create these liquidity gaps. When we put these on the graph, we can see these. And now once you see the gaps, you can share these gaps with your sellers. And your sellers may say, I don't care, I want to put my price right there. Well, that's okay. They at least know the challenges that they're going to face in putting the price there. So when we run this, we put it into a graphical format that everybody can look at and understand. And some people may say, well, on paper, my house is worth 1.8, 1.85. But just in looking at this alone, there's been such limited success there, and I really want to get this home sold in 30 days. Let's put the price at 1.7 million, and let's just get this thing sold. I don't want to go through all the stress in putting the price at a place where people have just had very limited success. So this market profile theory explanation, in that alone, can become very, very powerful. Let's take a look at what happens if you find yourself later on doing a market profile theory and finding out that you're in one of these income liquidity gaps. So let's just say that you run a market profile theory and then you find that the price that you have the property at is in one of those areas where you have limited or no liquidity in your marketplace. And you've priced the property a little bit towards the higher side of the marketplace. You're in a liquidity gap. You're in a place where there just hasn't been a ton of sales. And now interest rates are rising. Prices are starting to kind of soften a little bit. And maybe the mean value in your market is falling. And maybe you should have had the home priced closer to the mean value to begin with. But now the mean value is falling. And now you just come on the market. You can't move the price right away or you're going to look desperate. You've got to wait some time. And you're going to watch the mean value fall away from you. What happens in that case? To catch up to the mean value, you've got to make not just one pricing movement, but two. So now the mean value has fallen. In this example, it's about $90,000. And you'd price the property roughly 1.7, 1.75. And the market had a mean value when you put it on the market of about 1.6. And now the mean value has fallen to 1.5. So now you need to come down 2 rungs on the ladder to get to the new mean value, which would be right around 1.5. So having this market profile theory filled out before you go into the listing, having this conversation with your sellers, knowing the metrics on your listing can help you and the sellers to put the price in an area where you have the highest probability to sell it. A lot of sellers want to get top dollar for their house. Price means everything to them. Let's say, for example, that you've done your market profile theory, you've done your CMA, your client knows the metrics, and the client wants to put the price at 1.9 million here. With the understanding that you have now of the marketplace and you put the price at 1.9 million, now you clearly know where you need to go to find the next buyer pool if 1.9 million doesn't work. If 1.9 million doesn't work, you can't go into the liquidity gap. You've got to go to where the fish are biting. And that, in this example, would be at about 1.7. So this can help you to understand if we put the price in one place and it doesn't work, where we need to go to find the bulk of the action. I hope that helps. Liquidity gap summary. So liquidity gaps happen because of dispersions of incomes in different marketplaces. It's very, very important to know where the liquidity gaps are in different markets and different products. Why? Because on paper, your CMA could tell you that this home is 1.85 million. And so you put it on the market for 1.85 million. And you could do that. You could follow your metrics, 30 days or 18 people walk through their front door, you move the price. And eventually you probably find the market. But if you know where the bulk of the activity is taking place, if the bulk of the activity is at 1.7, but your CMA is telling you 1.85, you may bring the market profile theory with you to the table to discuss this. So your clients understand that on paper, their home has a value here. With the market profile theory, you're showing that the fish are in this pool, and then let your clients make the decision what risk they want to take. So this can become very, very powerful. Sometimes knowing where not to go is just as important as knowing where to go. All right, so how can I help you from here? I hope you got some great information from this course today, but there's a lot more to real estate. It's going to take you a lot of years to build one block on top of each other. One thing that I think that could really, really help you is my morning sales meeting. This is a sales meeting that I do 3 times a week. I do it in a large group format. I might ask questions. You might have an opportunity to be interactive, but there's going to be a lot of people. It's going to help you to get started with your day. A lot of people just can't get started, and a sales meeting is so impactful to help you get started. And you can also see what other people are doing and what's working. So it's $179 a month. It is affordable. There's a lot of people in it, but it's affordable. So at the bare minimum, if you're a new agent, you're struggling, maybe you're a seasoned agent and you just want to get part of the camaraderie, the morning sales meeting, $179 a month, it's nothing. Get in there, get the blood flowing, and get things headed in the right direction. If you want to step up to the next level, you can go to my small group coaching. This is where people are making $200,000, $500,000 a year, and they're learning from one another. And I've got homework assignments for you. I'm coaching you. It's in a small group. You get to see what other people are doing, what's working. You get camaraderie. You get a lot more interaction. That is a great option too as well. If you want the full-blown one-on-one coaching with me, maybe you want your team involved too as well, that is available. It's a little bit more expensive, but that is powerful. So I would love to be your coach. I'm a small coaching outfit. I don't have a lot of spaces, so you may be on a wait list, but you can apply today. The morning sales meeting is a great way to start, get your feet wet, learn the system, get into the flow, get into a rhythm, start the blood flowing. I would love to see you in there. Find me at agentmasterycoaching.com or click on the link below. However you need to find me, I'm available to you as a resource. I would be happy to help you in any way that I possibly can. My name is Aaron Harrington, owner of Agent Mastery Coaching, and I'll see you soon.